Okay, good evening, members. Um, hopefully everybody can hear me online as well. You're all very welcome to the Policy and Resources meeting here in the Grange in Omagh. And first of all, what I want to do is take any apologies. So, anybody indicating with apologies? Chairman?
I think there's a number of the councillors online, but I don't know of any apologies.
No.
So,
okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving to item 2 to sign the minutes of the meeting and confidential minutes, and those have been done. Is there any declarations of interest? Mark?
Thanks, Chair. It's just item 4.1, the response to the draft budget. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mark. And nobody else indicating? No. Okay. We'll move on then to item 4, and that's Corporate Service and Governance Directorate reports, and 4.1. Louise.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. So there are 2 items for decision. The first one is the draft response to the Department of Finance draft budget, and members are reminded that council powers have been delegated to this item. The draft response acknowledges a challenging fiscal environment, and that allocations must reflect the distinct needs of this rural district. The response stresses multi-year budget allocations, emphasis on strategic infrastructure, health, education, community safety, and economic development. The second draft response is to the Northern Ireland Housing Executive draft rural strategy. This draft response recognises complex housing pressures around housing affordability, rising social housing waiting lists, shortage of suitable housing, need for specialised accommodation, and the draft response highlights the need to enhance rural housing supply and prioritise energy efficiency. There are also a number of items for information. At 3.1, a forthcoming response which will be presented to a future meeting. This is on the draft Northern Ireland Executive Disability Strategy. 2 responses submitted since the last PNR, and a number of items, consultations referred to other committees. And finally, for noting, 3 consultations there, and also an additional one which members may be interested in, which is the Department of Education budget strategy. So to add that one to that list there. So it's recommended the council approves the draft responses to be submitted to the Department of Finance draft budget and the Housing Executive's draft rural strategy, and that the council notes the additional information on forthcoming consultations, those submitted since the last PNR, consultations referred to other committees, and other consultations for noting. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Louise. Nolene?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'm happy to propose that, but also can I just make you aware there are some of the councillors that have joined Teams on the meeting, and they're trying now to get onto the WebEx link, and they're waiting to be let in. Just wanted to let you know, Chair.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in. I'm in here. I'm all right. I got in there.
Well, Anthony's on. I think Debbie was waiting to get in as well. Just wanted to make you aware.
Okay. Trustee IT is taking care of all of that as we move along. Seamus?
yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't see it, Louise, but maybe it was in it. And forgive me if I'm wrong. But is there a place where we could put in about derelict properties being brought back into the housing pool? There's dozens of hundreds upon hundreds of properties across our region that sit idle. And I believe last night we did get quite a positive letter back from the Minister of Communities, I think it was, in relation to that. So I think we need to keep pressure up on getting some kind of a grant system or that to bring derelict vacant houses back in, something like the system that's in the south. So I think that would have a huge benefit and a huge make a huge difference to the housing crisis that we have.
Seamus, Louise, yeah.
Yeah, we can
And I'm
we
happy
can
to
certainly
second.
strengthen that in the response. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Anne-Marie?
Thank you, Chair. And it's in terms of maybe the section priority of services within budget and the consultation response to the draft budget. I think we talk regularly here in the meetings about how funding is assessed for rural areas and how quite often we fall down and miss out on investment in infrastructure and in any of the services because of value for money is always a consideration. I do think there's an opportunity maybe to put in a wee line there to consider how funding is allocated, not just from a regional imbalance, but consider it's not always about value for money. But sometimes it's important to invest in rural areas, particularly the rural west. So maybe a line or two, maybe reflecting that, I think would be useful. Thank you.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. I don't see anybody else. Nolan, just remind me, did you propose? You did?
I did, yes, Chair.
And Seamus, you seconded with those additions to it. Yeah, are we all in agreement? Excellent, thank you. Moving on to 4.2 then, to consider a report on financial matters.
Thank you.
And sorry, just Anthony, maybe if you switch on your camera for me. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Good evening, members. So the Financial Matters report this evening, members, is three items for consideration and then 3 items for noting. So the first item for consideration, members, is the normal monthly management accounts, and tonight at Appendix 1 is the 9 months of Q3 ending 31st of December 25. And as normal, the position has been prepared comparing actual expenditure for the period against budgets profiled for that same period. And it includes, for comparison, by income and expenditure type, members, and then the normal service area. So the net operating expenditure for the 9 months amounted to £31,996,543 out of a profiled budget of £33,433,158. Total expenditure to be financed amounted to £33,496,543 against a profiled budget of £34,933,158. The second item, members, then is an associated Treasury Management and Prudential Indicator report. That's attached at Appendix 2 for the same period. This is a normal quarterly update in terms of indications of compliance against the Treasury Management and Prudential Indicators that are set at the same time as the estimates are set. And at detailed at Section 2.2, members, just to note there are no issues emerging from the Q3 review, and I've detailed below a summary of the position in terms of loans outstanding, borrowing limits, capital financing requirements, capital spend on projects, investments that the Council holds, and the average interest rates for those. The next item, which is also appended or supported by an appendix, is a list of Council subscriptions. They are detailed by body and with some detail on the type of subscription or membership and the estimated value for 2026-27 members, and they are included as the appendix, and the payment amounts may be slightly different from those on that list. And just to note, members, the Council has received correspondence from Northern Ireland Chamber of Commerce in relation to subscription. They're not active in this region, members, and as such I haven't included them on the report here this evening as an appendix 3, but just to note that. In terms of matters for noting, members, then the third quarter actual penny product for 25-26 at this stage is an indicative positive sum of around 555,000. As always, members, just noting that the assumptions on which those calculations are based may change between now and the end of the year, but the trajectory would look like a positive sum at this stage as we reach the 31st of March end of year position. The third quarter de-rating grant, members, for 25-26 again is a positive sum of £39,401, and again is subject to change between now and the 31st of March. And then finally, members, for noting is the Department for Communities Capitalisation Direction Update, and really what that identifies as, and the link is there, members, as well, is potential treatment of some costs, for example, statutory redundancy costs and enhanced costs associated with that, treat them as capital for the purposes of this direction, which would otherwise be treated as revenue. And just to note that the capitalisation limit is long standing there, that the Department for Communities has identified it to be 3.4 million. It has been that for some years across 11 councils, and it's in an application process to the department should any council wish to avail of that. So the members, just subject to any queries, then there's a suite of recommendations at section 9.1 that the council approves the management accounts for the period ended 31st of December, the Treasury Management and Prudential Indicator outturn report for the same period, and the subscriptions as outlined in Appendix 3, and that the council notes the third quarter actual penny product, the third quarter de-rating grant, and the Department for Communities Capitalisation Direction. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Catherine. Victor?
Thank you, Chair. Well, I'll start by proposing the recommendations and them. Just a couple of questions. Obviously, the Dalradian consultation is starting again in April, is my understanding. And, you know, is there any sort of update plans, forecast costs or whatever with that starting up? And also I'm just using the one screen here, so the subscriptions that we give pay towards, you know, do we go through them occasionally to see if there's any of them really relevant to our council? Because there was a couple of strange ones that didn't really make much sense to me, certainly one. So could we maybe get an idea of what the situation is there? Please, thank you.
Okay, Jill?
Yes, Chair, thank you. Councillor Warrington, in terms of the subscriptions, there's a very robust process that we go through on an annual basis where the subscriptions are initially reviewed by the finance team against decisions taken by members in year and against spend last year, and then they're circulated around to each service area and each director to indicate whether the subscription is required or the membership body is active in the year. So each head of service and director reviews those and provides a recommendation, and that's how they appear on the list in front of you. And so typically there are a number of subscriptions that do not make it to the list on a year basis, and that any that new subscriptions come through for your approval. Certainly if there's any specific subscriptions that you want to check on, we're happy to provide that information here, or if you want to contact us after the meeting. In terms of your other query, in terms of Dalradian, and I'll bring Alison in on this, on a 2-month basis, we provide cost updates for spend on the public inquiry. So the last update was provided last month, I believe. So that is the process where we would keep members regularly appraised on the actual spend to date. There has, I think from last June, been no spend that has occurred within the council, but certainly that's the method in terms of bringing up to speed. And then Alice, you might want to comment on what's coming up.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks, Jill. So as Councillor Warrington has indicated, members, the public inquiry is due to recommence in towards the end of April. We have actually this week also issued further correspondence to the PAC in relation to what appears to be the provision of new material. Now, this was something that the PAC had previously advised it would not be accommodating, so we're seeking clarity on that. So our understanding at the moment is the recommencement of the hearing will be on information already in the public domain, and that has been before the inquiry. The reason why it was paused, members will recall, was for the transboundary consultation process. I think that generated something like 1,700 responses, and there may be new information as part of that, but that obviously will be now part of the disclosure. So at this stage, Chair, we're certainly not aware of any new financial implications, and as Jill has indicated, we have a reporting mechanism for that to come back into the council.
Okay, thank you for that. I will come back with the subscriptions that we give. Can I just ask a supplementary, please, Chair? The additional information that has been sent to the PAC, is that from our council grouping or our council, or is it from another body?
Sorry, no, Chair, it hasn't come from the council. It has been published on the, if I hope I'm now remembering correctly, the I think it's on the NIEA and DARA websites, so it's from other bodies, it's not from the council. And the issue is whether that information will be accepted by the Commission as part of the determinations. The council would obviously have concerns in that regard, as it has previously been advised by the Commission that they will not be accepting new information as part of the process. So there is a matter regarding procedural fairness. There would also be a matter around preparedness for various parties, including the council, should new information be accepted at this late stage in proceedings.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Victor. Have I got a seconder for the report? Mark?
Thank you, Chair. And I'm happy to second the report, maybe with one exception, which I'll come to in a moment. But a couple of questions first, Catherine, if I may. So under the other category in the first table, or the top table of the page of management accounts, so that's a category of a budget of almost 17 million, just shy of 17 million. I see we're on a 6% overspend, or a 6% overspend position by the end of month 9. So it would be useful to get a little bit of an update, Catherine, in terms of what exactly that is, why are we overspending, and then also I think just moving forward, just given the scale of that pot of money, I mean, it's 17 million. It's almost a third of the overall revenue position. It would be good to get a little bit of granular detail, maybe even moving forward in terms of what exactly falls into that other category, because I mean, I appreciate sometimes it's good to have a miscellaneous category, but 17 million just seems quite significant for another category. Another little comment, I mean, 4% underspend or variance, it's something I raised before. I see we're on 4% now. That tends to increase month on month the closer we get to the end of the financial year. I think year end last year it was 7%. I think I recall one year relatively recently where it was 10%. They are still quite significant underspends, and I absolutely, as I say every time we talk about this, better to be in an underspend than an overspend position. But when we are in a position of, again, still struggling to deliver some core services, it's just a concern I have. But I don't really have a question on that as such. Catherine, in terms of, there was a decision taken by this committee in November, I think it was November last year, to refer or to basically reallocate the 350k that had originally been put into councillor allowances towards the capital fund. It's just a point of process, Catherine. Where in this table is that reflected? Just to have absolute clarity in my mind, because I just do struggle to join those particular dots. And then on the similar 350, but a separate 350. The decision that was taken then by full council to put money into breakfast clubs and the sort of mishmash 5, 6, 7 other schemes, it would be good, Catherine, to know exactly where are we with that. So I appreciate maybe the 200k that went to breakfast clubs presumably has been spent or will be spent, but are you in a position yet to give us a guarantee that 350,000 that originally, as members will recall, some of us have proposed putting into grants, are you in a position to say that 350, which included Christmas car parking, which included sort of pets, Christmas advertising, are you in a position to say that definitely will be spent and that will not be in a position where we'll have an underspend on the underspend? You know what I mean? And then, just Chair, under subscriptions, Catherine, I mean, I'm looking at the list here. Two points really. Firstly, and it's something I've raised before, Nilga, so this council will be spending £57,000 on Nilga to a body that, which I mean, personally speaking, I don't entirely know what we get from Nilga, both in terms of having been on this council, but also having worked with Nilga previously before coming on the council. I mean, if I wouldn't be entirely honest if I were to say hand on heart, I believe that £57,000 value for money. I mean, I appreciate this. Sometimes they put on training events and they seem to put on lots of webinars. Sometimes they even charge councillors or charge councils to go to those. So I'm not necessarily making a proposal on it tonight, but it would be something I'd be keen, perhaps before the next mandate for this council, or maybe the new incoming council, to have a genuine conversation in terms of whether that £57,000 is value for money in terms of what it actually delivers. And then, Chair, there was just one particular query on the subscriptions, and I'll get the list here now. And it was that one to Manchester City Council. Relatively small sum of money, £875, but it's still public money. Could I make the proposal that, I mean, I'm broadly happy with to second the recommendations, but with that one exception, that would be brought back to a future, even to next month's meeting, because I know I raised it last year. In terms of what we actually get from it, it was minimal, but I'd be quite keen to know exactly over the last 12 months how many meetings there have been. Have we even been invited to the meetings? Because whenever I contacted that group previously, I got the impression, I sensed anyway, they didn't even know who we were and were paying money towards it. It's I mean, it may well be value for money. It's just I don't know. It's a group I hear nothing about other than this annual subscription. So I'd be curious, Chair, maybe if it can be provided tonight, fine. But if not, perhaps we could get a future report in terms of meetings, benefits, really what it delivers.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Yeah. Who wants to go first to pick up some of those queries? Catherine?
The start, Councillor, that's okay. So in relation to the other, and I do take your point, the budget is just under the 17 million for the annual year. And I suppose in its very simplest terms, it's everything other than income, salaries and wages, members' allowances, electricity, utilities and waste contracts. So it's absolutely everything to do with service delivery across all of the council facilities that doesn't get included within those key headings. But we'll certainly, as we move into the new financial year, take a look to see can we reclassify that and have a couple of other headings as opposed to the other. In relation to the variance on that one, it's predominantly as a result of increases in the cost of external contracts. So the main areas there where there are overspends against the budget is in the areas around parks and play areas. And I think I mentioned before at a previous meeting, the significant additional costs for vehicle parts and repairs is the bulk. There's obviously a lot of movements within smaller individual budget lines, but the predominant overspend at this stage is in outside contractor costs for parks and play areas and vehicle costs themselves, which have seen a significant hike since we set the budget in the prior year. Just noting the allocation of funds within the budget this year then, members. So the only allocation done at the moment is the reduction of the members' allowance budget of 350,000 and the allocation of that into community services. Any transfers to the capital fund will sit on the line of transfers to reserves. That's much further down. So at the moment, the net operating expenditure budget lines of members' allowances and community services has that £350,000 adjustment that members approved a couple of months back. I'm not in a position at this stage, Chair, to confirm whether or not that money has or will be fully allocated between now and the end of the financial year, but we will keep a review of that as we do go through the monthly management accounts, and it may be a matter for the relevant committee to receive an update on how that's actually been allocated. In relation to the subscriptions, then note the comment on the membership and the Manchester City Council subscription. Again, I wouldn't have the absolute detail on that, but take the members' query in relation to seeking feedback in relation to that subscription. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks. And Alison's going to make a couple of comments. comments?
Certainly, Chair, I'll maybe just come in on the latter 2 points in terms of the subscriptions. Certainly, I think from memory, Councillor Coyle is our nominee. So the Manchester, it relates to the nuclear free forum. Certainly, I know last year when there were some queries in relation to this, they were very quick to provide information. So I wouldn't imagine, Chair, there'd be any difficulty in asking for a copy of the meeting arrangements or the various documents that have issued within the last 12 months. In relation to NILGA, and obviously I note Councillor Ovens' comments in relation to it, I suppose the only maybe suggestions I would make, Chair, NILGA does act as the representative body on behalf of the local government sector, so it is an 11 council partnership. We do bring, and indeed we have correspondence later on the agenda to give an overview of the work programme on any given month. But perhaps members might find it of value. I'm sure NILGA, their office bearers or their executive team would be very amenable to come and meet with members to expand further on their work on the value for money aspects or otherwise. And that might be the best way to actually deal with any queries or issues that members would have.
Okay, yep, it sounds like a genuine way forward there. Okay, no, Debbie?
Hi, thanks, Chair. Sorry, I'm in on my phone as opposed to a laptop. I couldn't get in on my laptop, but yeah, if any, I get regular emails and invites to various things. Some that I can go on, and some I can't. I don't go to any in person, but I do go to some of the online things. But if any councillor wants me to share that, you know, I've got no problem in sharing the email if anybody wants to see what and I said this last year, but nobody took me up on the offer, but I don't mind. Some of it's very informative, and if Mark wants me to forward it on to him every month, that's no problem, because I get at least one email a month with various things on it, various information, so it's no problem sharing it at all.
Okay. Mark, did you want to come back?
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and Debbie. I appreciate that offer, and I mean, you don't need to be forwarding emails or me giving you work like that. I mean, it was more just to ask the genuine question, and I suspect, Debbie, from what you said, you probably do believe it's still worthwhile. Personally speaking, I don't know if it is worthwhile or not, but I mean, I'm not going to push it to a division or anything tonight. So if the broader reports have been proposed, I'll second them, including that nuclear subscription. But again, just with the caveat that I'm not entirely convinced it's good use of ratepayers' money, but I take Debbie's point. Thank you.
Okay. Grant, thank you. And thank you for the questions. Are we all in agreement for the proposed and second of the report? Ugly. Thank you very much. Moving on then to 4.3, staff matters, paper C.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry. It's nearly too enthusiastic there. Thank you, Chair. I suppose I just have a very brief item for information this month, just to note that the Council has completed our 4th compliance audit in relation to our responsible body registration with Access NI, so that takes us up to date. I would have reported a few months back that we had our compliance audit in relation to our registered body status with Access NI, and to say that that brings us up to date now and remains valid for the next 3 years. So we continue to be accepted for the Access NI checks that we do for our job applicants. Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much. And Anne-Marie?
Thank you, Chair, and happy to propose the recommendation as set out. Thank you.
Thank you. A seconder? Bernard? We all agreed? Thank you. Moving on to 4.4. Jill?
Yep. Chair, thank you. So there are 2 items, one for decision, and that's in relation to the review of the rate support grant. So members will recall that at the previous Policy and Resources Committee in January, a correspondence was considered in relation to a review that is currently taking place of the rate support grant. And there was a request from members that our response would be brought back to this committee and that we would restate the importance of the grant to our region and the need for it to be reinstated to its original value, which was quite significant a number of years ago. So there was a couple of specific questions asked as part of the review, and the response is outlined in the paper. Just to refresh, the rate support grant is provided to councils, to a number of councils, really where the needs of the council exceed the capacity of the rate space, and it's on a comparative basis, so effectively to the less well-off councils. And in our response, we make strong reference to the rurality of the region and the sparseness of population, which means that there is an increased cost for service delivery. Also, the poor infrastructure, the lower number of businesses means that we have a lower rate space. So that's the essence of the response. And we also detail, and it's quite stark when you see it, the actual reduction in the rate support grant that has taken place since 21-22. And you'll see, members, in the table on page 3, that it went down from 1.26 million to 260,000. So a reduction of £1 million in a 5-year period, which is really very significant for a council like ourselves. When we have plans both for our capital plan, we need to meet increasing external inflationary costs, and really where we require investment in the council estate right across the region. So our response outlines how it's wholly necessary to maintain the rate support grant and to reinstate it at the original level in terms of enabling the council to provide the essential services to the ratepayers while maintaining an affordable district rate for the region. In the response, we also note that at this particular time, the council budgets are under pressure due to lack and due to uncertainty about community funding for community services, which are directly funded from central government. So that's a particular pressure at this juncture. The second item for noting in this report, members, is an update on the Rural Community Engagement event. So further to members' interests in rural parliaments and wider engagement with rural and communities, arrangements are in place to hold a Rural Community Engagement event scheduled to take place at present on Thursday the 26th of March in Newtown Butler Community Centre from 7:30 p.m. So the purpose of the event is to bring together rural thought leaders, innovators, community organisations to discuss ideas and initiatives aimed at revitalising rural resources and really seek input from rural people and to assist local rural communities to raise rural issues and bring about positive change for communities. Thanks at this juncture go to members from Aaron East who we met in terms of scoping out the schedule and the arrangement for the rural community event, which is scheduled to take place. So the recommendations are that the council approves the draft response to DFC request for information in terms of the rate support grant and the review, and that the council notes the update on the rural community engagement event.
Okay, thanks, Jill. Seamus.
Yeah, I would be happy to recommend the recommendations or propose the recommendations even. And as for the rural event, I think it's a very good initiative. It sounds really interesting, and hopefully it goes well, because rural people tend to believe they're not heard. And this is an opportunity of making their voices heard. So I would hope that people will really respond to this and come along and maybe make it an event that other DAs would be able to link into and that people would have their say as well. So yeah, I'm more than happy to propose the recommendation.
Okay. Thank you very much, Seamus. And Anne-Marie?
Thank you, Chair, and I'm happy to second the recommendations and just want to commend the response to DFC, or no, just DFC, yeah, DFC about the rate support grant. I think it really sets out our position in the district in terms of rurality, sparseness of the population and deprivation. So I think it really makes clear the difficulties that are met by the people, our people across the district. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Nolene?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I was going to come in to second it, but I'd also like to commend the response as well. It is really quite shocking when you see the deduction in the rate support grant, which is essential to our council, and also for the rural events in Newtown. I think that, I'm hopeful that will be successful and get community involved. So yeah, I was going to second it, but I just wanted to make that comment as well. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thanks, Nolene. Yep. And proposed by Seamus and second by Anne-Marie. We all agreed? Okay, thank you. Correspondence then, 5.1.
Yes, Chair, the first two items are both from NILGA. The first, just for information, really, the NILGA news dated the 22nd of January. And the second item is an invitation from NILGA as part of the Ending Violence Against Women and Girls strategy. They have been working with the Shared Island Unit and are proposing a network event, Chair, which is targeted on a cross-border basis, but it's focused particularly at councillors. And the invitation, you'll see detailed, is for the Tuesday the 25th, Tuesday 24th, I think that should be Wednesday the 25th of March, in the Slieve Russell Hotel. And we have been encouraged to send 2 elected members to the event, which itself is free. And then there is a cost for overnight accommodation should that be required. So really just seeking nominations this evening, Chair, or if members would rather have some time to reflect on it, we could hold it for the March council meeting.
Okay, thanks, Alison. Debbie?
Yes, Chair. Alison, I'm just out of interest because I'm just wondering if it's Tuesday the 24th to Wednesday the 25th or Wednesday the 25th to Thursday the 26th. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm just wondering if there was an opportunity to just go during the day and not stay for the dinner or overnight. If, would that be an option? And then, because I know Councillor Hayes is thinking of it, and I would like to go, but maybe she could do one day and I could do the other, but neither of us stay because, and then there'd be no cost to the council at all. I'm just wondering if that would be okay. Or could you check to see if it would be okay, please?
Well, I can certainly double check, Chair. Firstly, to say I understand it to be the Tuesday, Wednesday. I know the same date as opposed to Wednesday, Thursday. So I think it is the Tuesday and Wednesday, okay, 24th, 25th.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have thought there would be a difficulty in attending, just as you have indicated, Councillor Coyle, that certainly the both the dinner and the overnight would be entirely optional. And I would imagine they would like to have probably billed on day one for the day two participation, but that I appreciate that might not be feasible. But certainly that, so the overnight is definitely not a requirement and we could alternate that between members. But I think the preference is probably to have continuity over the 2 days if feasible.
Okay. Oh, well, that's okay then. So if so myself or Nolene will go. If nobody else wants to go and stay and do the whole thing, that's okay. But if I can get back to you on that and confirm which one of us will be going. Is that okay?
That's grand. So
Thank you.
yes, just that I need a proposer and seconder just to make that official. So can somebody propose? Thank you, Colette and Anne-Marie. Okay. And there's no further takers on any of that. So that wasn't noted beforehand, was it? No. Yes, Colette and Anne-Marie, you're happy to note the correspondence. Thank you. Moving to our second piece of correspondence.
Yep, thank you, Chair. The second is consultation events on the draft attendance matters strategy that we've been sent by the Department of Education, and the details are included. So Consultation is running until the 6th of March, and the engagement, I think, events, there was meant to be an engagement event, I think, but we will convey the consultation, as Louise has mentioned earlier. We'll hope to respond in due course.
Okay, thank you, Alison.
Just for noting.
Proposed to and seconded to note. Okay, Colette and Anne-Marie again. Moving on to 5.2.
Thank you, Chair. This is the, 5.3. I think these are the Consumer the Consumer Council's corporate plan public engagement events. And why we just wanted to bring this to your attention, members, there is an in-person event in Enniskillen, and you may wish, it's on Wednesday, the 25th of March. So just given our interest in obviously having such events in the district, members may wish to register for that, but really for information otherwise.
Okay. Bernard to propose to note, and the seconder. Anne-Marie. Thank you. Okay, moving on.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this next event is from Retail NI, and it's regarding the action plan to revitalise Northern Ireland post office network. The chair was invited and is unavailable, and just thought we would bring it to this committee this evening, Chair, in case anyone would wish to attend. And it's on the 3rd of March in Stormont in Parliament Buildings.
Okay, do I have any takers for that? No, nobody jumping up and down to go to that. Okay. For noting then, proposed and seconded, Anne-Marie and Elaine. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the next item is from the National Association of Councillors, and members may recall at the council meeting there was correspondence where they had requested an opportunity to meet with the council. So really this email is just clarifying that that letter was sent in error, and there is not actually a request to meet with our council but to Ards and North Down instead. So just simply suggesting we note this, and we'll obviously regularise that at the council meeting in March.
Okay. Seamus?
Meet with us, or and they want to meet with the Ards and North Down, or did Ards and North Down invite them in the first place or something?
So I think my understanding, Chair, is that Ards and North Down may have withdrawn their subscription, and they are seeking an opportunity to meet with the council to, I suppose, clarify the position and maybe to engage directly. So that's my understanding as to why both the request came in and possibly the rationale why it is Ards and North Down as opposed to other parties. I'm quite sure NAC would be, and I know we have a number of members, would be happy to meet with the council at any stage. So, but that's, I think, the rationale on this occasion.
Okay, happy to know.
Proposed by Seamus, seconded Victor.
Yeah, well, I just want to what the chief executive said there, because we were at the last NAC meeting in Dungannon a month or so ago. That is correct. That Ards North Down has ceased their payment. So I'll second it, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We all agreed. Okay, grand. Other?
Yes, Chair, we've two items of other correspondence. The first is from the Heritage Council, and this relates to a shared island funded initiative known as the Shared Ireland Heritage Networks Project. And you'll have seen from the letter, it's really intention on working on a cross-border basis with local authorities primarily, but also wider partners. And it's an expression of interest process in the first instance. We have had some preliminary engagement with the Heritage Council in the past, Chair, and I know that they are keen to engage with us. And you'll see there's a proposed event on the sometime off yet, 2nd of September in County Monaghan. So certainly it would be our recommendation that we should seek further information, but at this stage extend our willingness, at least in principle, to involve the council in the network.
Seamus?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I would be happy to propose that. Just one question. What is the financial implications? Are we in line if we go with this here to get a large pot of money from the shared island, or is that me being too optimistic?
Well, at this stage, Chair, I genuinely don't know the financial pot that's available in any context. However, we have benefited from and are certainly aware of other projects that are well funded under Shared Island. But I suppose my understanding of the intent of the correspondence is very much around the relationship building in the first instance and to try and identify mutual areas of interest and opportunity. But we could certainly explore all of those if members are content that we do so.
Okay, Anthony?
Yeah, just glad to support that and happy to second it, Thomas.
Okay, all agreed. We'll be kept informed in due course. Okay.
And Chair, thank you. There's one further item of correspondence that just came in today, actually, and it's also Shared Island funding. So this has been alluded to actually in some of the VEDP discussions in the past, Chair. So this is the collaborative arrangement between Tourism NI, Fáilte Ireland and Tourism Ireland, and it's regarding shared destinations. So this is looking both at branding, marketing, but also destination management. And there has been quite a bit of I suppose work being undertaken by the three agencies around the governance, but also then the lead implementation, which has now been clarified. So it's the Department of Enterprise, Tourism and Employment. And there is, as you'll see from the letter, the intention now to establish a steering group at officer level in the first instance. So we have been asked to nominate a relevant officer in advance of the 20th of February, which is why we're bringing it this evening. So this is something we have, again, formally expressed interest in, Chair, and would be willing, subject to members' approval, to nominate accordingly. And then we would report back into the council in due course.
Okay. That's all good. Have we a proposer and seconded in to note the appointment of an officer and to note the correspondence? Bernard? And Nolene?
Yeah, happy to second that, Chair.
Okay, thank you all.
Concludes the correspondence, Chair.
And just as a matter of interest, what was the long-awaited one from Northern Ireland?
The destination stewardship.
Yes.
No clarity.
No word yet. Okay. And I have no other or urgent or relevant business notified, so we will go on to confidential Proposed and seconded to come out of committee now. Josephine, thank you. And Bernard, thank you. Okay, thanks. Alison?
Thank you, Chair. While in committee, the council considered a report on confidential staff matters, confidential financial matters, and also proposed governance arrangements papers for the Mid-South West Growth Deal, and proceeded with the proposed recommendations, Chair, and also received an update on an ongoing procurement matter.
Okay, thank you, Alison. Can I have a proposal and seconder? Liam, thank you. Bernard? Thank you. All agreed. Thank you, members. Okay, and that concludes our business for tonight. For those of us travelling, safe home, and the rest, good night.
Thank you, Chair.